charger's in the front, but it's very much fine. Heat is back here. Heavy. Oh, thank you.
Are we ready? Good afternoon. Thank you for showing up for our time in earth and prayer. I ask all of you to help me out in your own way as we ask for Tunkashila to look down on us and to help us save Unchimaka, Grandmother Earth. I'll say it in my own language. You can say it in yours. Tunkashila atewa kantanka. Kautukini hintuana. The Takojini Tagda. Tatanka duta demia edono, cheke ushimalaye. De apetiki. We na pchena kande apetuki ahihunina. Taka wishtena dechina. We chasha winke decha home in energy dan use papot kashla. Chi taka wishtena yachibna. Cheke. Inja takoja decha de ahihunina. Taka ija taka wograkikta echena. Cheke to kashla ushilapo. Kautuki nihintuana. Wakanja takoja ni tragna. Unshik decha de hibna. Jaketa Tukashla Tewa Kantaka Ushimalaye, na Ushila Podena Najina. Dejana members of Congress, Ekchana, Hebidukshana da Wana, Dakabuduhana, Jake Hechera Hintwana, Moakachnina, Wana, Washtena, Jake Ushimalaye. Grandfather, look out down upon your children so that we can save Mother Earth. Homitaki Wasi. Thank you. Today we have a gathering here. We have the senator, the great senator, to come up. If you would, Senator, would you please help us enjoy this day? Thank you.
Well, I'm very proud to be standing here today with the tribal leaders and the indigenous grassroots youth who are carrying the fight for Mother Earth. The fight for justice. 7 years ago, despite enormous public opposition, the federal government allowed an oil company to push aside the Standing Rock Sioux and build the Dakota Access Pipeline. Even though it threatens tribal drinking water, even though it disturbs sacred tribal sites, even though it fuels climate chaos. Let's be clear, this pipeline continues the United States history of breaking promises to tribes and doing damage to the environment. The pipeline should never have been built. When the Corps of Engineers made their initial assessment in 2016, they said it had no significant impact. Here's a pipeline that carries 750,000 barrels of oil a day, all of which, when it's burned, will have a tremendous impact on the climate, all of which, when it leaks, will have a tremendous impact on the environment. And they said, no impact. Even the court said that's unacceptable. And they sat back and said, you have to do that over again. Well, you know what? The new environmental assessment is deeply flawed too. It continues this fallacy that somehow you can build fossil fuel infrastructure that transports and prepares to burn billions of gallons of fossil and the potential for hundreds of leaks damaging the environment, and someone that has no impact. Let's remember how racism played into this. Because of the risk to drinking water, the pipeline was routed away from a predominantly white community to be near a tribal community, tribal lands. This continues the story of environmental injustice that should not continue into the future. Well, projects get moved from communities that are perceived to have more power to communities that are perceived to have less power, and they often end up being forced onto low-income communities and brown and black communities, and it is morally wrong. We know that the risks are real. The oil company, Energy Transfer, has a horrific safety record. The pipelines that they operate have been responsible in the last 11 years for 349 spills, leaks, and accidents. And a bunch of them did contaminate local waters. You know, there's a young man here who has a bag that says, "Oil and water don't mix." I'm not sure whose bag that was, but that kind of sums it up. You know, 2 of their subsidiaries were convicted of criminal charges related to the construction of pipelines. So understandably, people are alarmed. Understandably, the tribe is alarmed. Understandably, everyone should be alarmed. A pipeline that runs under the Missouri River, or over the Missouri River, and under Lake Oahe, just a half-mile upstream from tribal land. And the tribe depends on the waters for drinking, for irrigation, for hunting, for fishing. An oil spill could be absolutely devastating. Now the tribe, at this point, not only would like to stop the pipeline, would also like to have contingencies for an oil spill. But the supporting data and documents are not being released. They're being suppressed. So it's impossible even to develop that kind of plan. How can the Corps expect environmental experts to provide analysis and feedback when they suppress and redact the information necessary to do that? Open information is critical in a democracy, critical in our republic, critical for tackling the challenges that we face. Transparency and scientific integrity are cornerstones of the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA. And NEPA is undermined if you don't have the information. Now, I just can't resist saying that we have to address again the fact that this pipeline carries a massive amount of barrels of fossil fuel. If you were to say, what's the equivalent of damage to running this pipeline each day to putting fossil cars on the road, the pipelines equal to 11 million cars day after day after day. 11 million cars. Here we are in my home state. The snowpack has dropped 20 feet on average over 90 years. Our groundwater is disappearing. Our farmers and ranchers are running out of water. Our tribal lands in my state of Oregon are facing the same challenges of drought and groundwater. Our streams are warmer and smaller, affecting our trout and salmon. Our waters in the Pacific Ocean are more acidic, all because of burning of fossil fuels. No one can say that a pipeline carrying a massive amount of fuel has no impact. It's not just nonsense, it's really a crime to put out that kind of analysis. So this week, the Biden administration invited the tribal leaders of the Standing Rock Sioux and other tribes to the White House for a dialogue. I hope your presence and your comments asking the president to come and see for himself were heard, because that's what a leader should do in the United States of America with this type of environmental calamity, is go and see for themselves. The administration, the president, needs to listen to the Standing Rock Sioux, listen to the other tribal leaders, listen to our indigenous grassroots youth, and shut off the Dakota pipeline once and for all. The pipeline is unacceptable because of the risk it poses to the tribe, unacceptable because of the risk it poses to the climate. 7 years ago, we were right to oppose it, and we're right to oppose it today. Let's shut it down. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Hello, everybody. I am Janet Elky, the chairwoman of the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe. As the senator said, the tribal leaders came into town this week. I don't know if it was creator-driven, but it just seemed strange that I was asked to meet with the president. I got to meet with him, and I'm just sharing this with you because it was pretty amazing. They told me you get 10 seconds to say what you need to say to him. You know, take your picture, move on through. And and it really bothered me, not in a bad way, but just like, what do you say in 10 seconds to somebody with that much power and that can do something about this? And he can do one thing, you know. And honestly, all that came to mind, and I prayed about it, all that came to mind was, I told him, you come to Standing Rock. Obama, I said, I know Obama came to Standing Rock, but I'm asking you to come to Standing Rock. I'm asking you to come to the Great Plains and see for yourself. And I think he was surprised a little, but he said, he shook his head and he said, you tell this young man right here, give him your information, and we will get back to you, you know. And that's okay. But I couldn't think of what I needed to say. I mean, what do you say? Thank you for, you know, getting us through COVID. Thank you for getting us through all of this, the bipartisan infrastructure money, all this stuff. But all that came to mind was, you need to see for yourself. And I think, you know, the story of our people of Standing Rock, I've been the tribal chair for 2 years now. And I tell this to anyone who will listen to me, that they ask me, you know, about being the chair, and I said, you know, every tribal leader thinks about the future for their people, and they think about what they're going to encounter. How do we prepare for the future? How do we prepare if something really bad was to happen? Well, at Standing Rock, the real bad thing that can happen is a pipeline. When it's only 800 feet from our community of Cannonball, 800 feet, that's all. And so you live with that danger every day, and you think about, in my administration, am I going to be the tribal chair that has to deal with this type of disaster? So you start thinking of all these things, you know, of how we're going to have to prepare for it. The senator talked about the draft EIS. We brought this, actually, this is the first one that Peter, our lawyer, gave me, and I said, are you serious? I'm not going to hold that up. So he made him go do another one, because I really needed folks to see. When I first came in to be chairman, I was told, okay, the draft EIS is going to be released now, you know. And I was like, okay, you know, learning about this, what's going to happen. Well, Secretary Michael, Michael Connor, I'll just say Michael Connor. He came from the Corps of Engineers. He decided to put it on pause. We didn't know how long that would be, but I looked at it as a blessing, because, I mean, I was honest even with him, and I said, have you read it? Have you looked at it? And he was honest by telling me, no, I haven't. And I said, good, let's put it on pause. You read it, and I will read it, since I'm the new chair. You're new in your position, and let's see what we come up with. And so we've been waiting for this draft EIS to come out. Well, it came out, well, we got the draft, of course. Knowing the last draft definitely looked like this. This is what we got. This is actually, it says project study area of 2 hypothetical release locations in a red box, which represents, this is the model. This is the model that they gave us, that how they're going to address an oil spill at Standing Rock. So here you go, Standing Rock, prepare. This is what you got. And so that is what we're dealing with at Standing Rock. For my administration, there's 2 things. I have 2 values that I have for my administration, and these 2 values are called truth and compassion. And I told this to the Corps of Engineers. I tell it to anyone who will listen. Our people deserve the truth, even if it's not what we always want to hear, but we deserve the truth. And when I say compassion, all I'm asking for is that you put yourself in our shoes. And I say that to all these gentlemen I encounter up here in this building right here. And but I also want to share a quick little story about Standing Rock. In 2016, I was working away from our tribe, and I knew somewhat of what was happening. Our people were talking about it, and I called my mom, and I asked her what she was doing. And she said, and why I'm sharing this involves our youth. She said, I'm going to Cannonball because there's a group of kids I heard on KLND are going to run to Omaha. And I'm like, well, what are they gonna do? And she's like, I'm gonna go watch them. They're gonna run to Omaha with a letter to the Corps of Engineers about a pipeline that's gonna be built here at Standing Rock. And I was like, okay. So I called her up again, and I said, so what was it like, Mom? Were the kids running? She said, it was so sad. She said it was raining, and it was just a small little group of kids. And I'll tell you, she said, and one little chubby boy was running at time when I was watching, but he was running. And at the time she said, where's our men? Why are these children doing this, having to speak up for us? What was the children who brought this movement to our people, brought the attention to us, tribal leaders, brought the attention to the country, basically. It was the youth, because the youth are the future. And thank you, one of you. Thank you for standing with Standing Rock. And it's still that way for us. It's this whole movement and this whole goal that we have as tribal leaders, and looking at the Dakota Access Pipeline, it's about the future of our youth and future of Standing Rock. Actually, I think it goes all the way down that river, the Missouri. But I wanted to read a little bit of something for you. Like I said, my mom talked about, they wanted to bring attention to the pipeline that was going to be built under the river. They knew how dangerous this was, the threat to our water. Kids, my mom yelled. It was not the adults who were supposed to know better, but it was the kids. She wanted to support them, so she watched them, and a lot of our people did. But like I said, my mom broke down, and seeing how in the beginning here, I want you all to know, in the beginning, it was a small group of kids that really got the attention of this whole movement. They're adults now, and I'm telling you right now, there's a couple of them that are gone. They passed away, and that's really hard to share. So the Dakota Access Pipeline, as the senator said, with thousands, as I have, over 600,000 of barrels or 25 million gallons of crude oil flows every day, just 800 yards upstream of our reservation. When the federal courts have agreed that DAPL's safety is seriously in doubt, the federal judge in our NEPA case said their safety record does not inspire confidence. A judge said that. At Standing Rock, our people live with this threat every day, adding to the cumulative traumas and injustices we are experiencing as our ancestors did. There are many issues that concern us with DAPL. Threats to our treaty rights, climate change, the health of our people, the economic harm, the cumulative impacts, and I can go on and on. But one central concern is, what if this pipeline fails? What are the spill impacts? How bad can it be? And these are things we think about all the time. Well, we know the harm to our tribe if the oil occurs would be catastrophic. to our people, the environment, and further damage to our cultural sites and our ancestors' graves. We also know the corporate owner of DAPL, Energy Transfer, and the operator, Sunoco, run unsafe operations. They have been criminally convicted just recently in 2022 and of 23 pipeline-related Clean Water Act violations in Pennsylvania. As a result of those Pennsylvania Clean Water Act convictions, the EPA has debarred both Energy Transfer LP and DAPL operator Sunoco from federal agency contracting. Consequently, we believe Energy Transfer is debarred from contracting and easement at Lake Oahe with the Corps. The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC, found that Energy Transfer's Rover Pipeline 2 million gallon spill was the product of a failed corporate culture that ran all the way to the executive level. FERC also found that Energy Transfer did not self-report the violations and committed obstructionist conduct during its investigation, resulting in a large $40 million fine, which I think is probably nothing to them. We know their pipeline spill record is the worst among the worst, as we have said many times in our reports. In terms of the number of spills, their volume, property damage, and large spills in environmentally sensitive areas like Lake Oahe. We also know their safety record is not getting better. DAPL has had serious problems. They have had the pipeline safety regulator, PHMSA, inspect DAPL 3 separate times in 2021, issuing upholding fines, violations, warning letters. From 2017 to the present, DAPL Energy Transfer Company had the most hazardous liquid spills, 16 for all new installation pipelines. This is a serious record of safety problems for a pipeline operating since 2017. Finally, we are deeply concerned that if there is a spill in Lake Oahe, Energy Transfer and the Corps will not effectively lessen the harm or clean up our tribal lands. Low water is a big threat to an effective emergency response effort. The water at Standing Rock is low in large part because of the Missouri River system, the Corps, and the way they operate it. Low water causes boat ramps to be unusable for launching oil skimmers and boats placing booms, because that's their solution for us. That's how they said they would clean it up and contain it. And there's no way to access the water right now because the water is too low. So we stand there, we sit there at Standing Rock, and we see all of this happening, and we know that we're coming to a point where the comment period is ending on December 13th. I'm going to share with you, this is the reality. This is the reality. I love this Unchi at the conference today from Alaska talking about climate change. And her story was pretty scary. She talked about this is reality. The reality for us at Standing Rock is last Thursday, as I was preparing to come to DC, I got a letter from the Corps of Engineers saying that we would like to come to Standing Rock and get public comments from the people of the Cannonball District, because I asked them that. I asked him, Chairman LeBeau arrived here from Cheyenne River. He came with me to testify when the Army Corps of Engineers said we were going to have a public comment period. It wasn't on Standing Rock. It was in Bismarck, North Dakota. So, and it was not good. So I handed them a letter because every time I engage them, they call it consultation, and it's not. I'm like handing you a letter, you know. I'm calling you on the phone. This is not consultation, but they call it consultation. But anyway, they took my letter, and so they're saying, all right, Standing Rock, we're going to do a public comment period. Well, that public comment period for the people of the Cannonball District was today. They put it for today, and it was going to be virtual. And I don't know if any of you ever been to the res. Virtual is not going to work for our people. and I'm just going to say, good luck getting a Wi-Fi system to work in the Cannonball District for the people there. They're going to, they won't, I told them, I said, get them on the phone. Call them right now. So we called up, got the hold of this colonel, and he was nice. They're always nice. And he said, well, we'll come to Standing Rock again. We'll still come hear the comments of the people. And I said, but, so does that mean you're going to push your comment period back, the end, not December 13th? And he said, well, no, we have to stay with that date, but we'll still come to Standing Rock and hear the comments. I'm like, well, what good is that going to do? You know, it's already over. So I don't know what happened today. If they actually, you know, dialed in to Cannonball District to do a virtual public comment period. I haven't had a chance to check on that, but I probably can guess it didn't happen, and they didn't get to hear the voice of the people of how they really feel about that pipeline and what they really want the Corps to do. So anyway, thank you for bearing with me. When I start talking about DAPL, I get emotional because this is the reality for our people. And I say that to any federal person that comes, any agency. I had the Indian Health Service Director, Rosalind So, come visit Standing Rock because I want a hospital. And I asked her the question, you know, the director of all the Indian health centers across the country, when there's a spill with DAPL, is your hospital, your clinic ready to handle that emergency for our people? Are you ready to take care of our people when they get poisoned by the oil? And she said, I've never been asked that question before. I have to get back to you. I asked the Bureau of Reclamation, one of the directors from our region, when he came to, you know, visit us and talk about our rural water system, about our water and our water intakes. I asked him, I said, do you know if there's an oil spill and our water supply gets cut off, how many days we have here at Standing Rock? What's our water supply? But he didn't know. He said, I don't know. And I said, 2 days. We got 2 days of water for our people for the reservation. So I just throw this out there to them because this is our reality. It really is. I don't know where we go from here. I just want to say this in closing. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring for Unchi Maka. Thank you, young people, for caring about the future of this planet. I know that's why you're here. And thank you for standing up for Standing Rock. I know that if this is going to continue, I won't be the last chairman fighting this issue. It'll be the next chairman and the next chairman and the next chairman. It will be the next chairman that will be fighting this, because until that pipeline is shut down, we're going to keep fighting. We're going to get that pipeline shut down. That's our only option. But thank you so much. God bless you. I'd like to introduce Chairman Ryman LeBeau from the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe.
I'm Ryman LeBeau. I'm the chairman of the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. I want to thank you all for coming today. We appreciate the time you took out of your own lives to attend this event. Thank the chairwoman for her comments, powerful comments. And we're thankful for her leadership and all that she does for the people as this pipeline affects all of us in the Sioux Nation. And we're also joined by Chairman Renville from the Sisseton Wahpeton Oyate, and also President Starcombs out from the Oglala Sioux Tribes. So we're welcoming them as well, and we'll ask them to speak after myself. And we're in town today to speak and meet with the United States of America, as President Biden is hosting us at the White House Tribal Nations Summit. So we're happy to be here today, and this is a great time to have this press conference and bring more awareness on the Dakota Access Pipeline and how this is a killer. This is going to destroy us if they continue to operate this pipeline. And as I stated previously, the United States continues to fail us. They continue to fail the Sioux Nation over and over again. History has shown us that the United States is a failure. They failed to uphold the treaties. They failed to uphold their own trust responsibility to our tribal nations. So again, and they currently are operating an illegal, dirty, contaminated pipeline which trespasses through the Sioux Nation. And this is illegal. This pipeline has no permit. It has no ability to legally operate. But yet they're still pumping oil through it. So it's illegal in their own laws, in their own books, in the United States. Definitely a tragedy waiting to happen. So definitely we need this pipeline removed from our Sioux Nation lands, and we need this pipeline kept out of any of Unchimaka going forward. And the chairwoman mentioned we met with President Biden, and personally I asked him to uphold our treaties. I told we, the Sioux Nation, we signed treaties with the United States in 1868. My great-grandfather, chief forebear of the Tukettle Band of Lakota, he signed this treaty with the United States. So it's definitely a great meeting to have with the president, and we asked him to uphold his promise his people made to the Sioux Nation. And of course that includes having this pipeline in our lands. This is trespassing. This is wrong. And we'll stand against it. We'll stand with Standing Rock. We'll stand with the Sioux Nation. We'll stand with all the people, the children, the people that care, all the relatives that care. We stand with you against this pipeline and its removal going forward. And we thank the senator for coming out today and standing with the tribes, standing with the people, standing for Grandmother Earth. We thank you for this time that you made for us, the Sierra Club. And again, we're against this, and we'll continue to fight. We'll continue to fight this, stand up to this pipeline. This is wrong. Again, we thank you for the time. We'll call Chairman Renville, give him the mic, and after that we'll call President Starcombs out. Pilamia.
Oh, Madakapi. My name is Jay Garrett Renville. I'm the chairman of the Sisseton Wahpeton, and I just want to thank everybody for being here today. And my people stand in solidarity with Standing Rock and the rest of the Sioux Nation on this issue. And like Chairman LeBeau said, this is unacceptable, and we're going to fight and continue to fight this pipeline. I just wanted to keep my comments real brief because I know it's a little chilly out here right now. So again, just thank each and every one of you for being here. You being here shows that you care, and you care about our environment, and you care about the plight of our people. And the treaties are important, and they need to be honored. We signed these treaties. These are peace treaties. Yet here we are, hundreds of years later, still fighting. And we're doing our part to honor these, and so we're calling upon the United States government to honor them as well. Thank you.
Matakiapi, Frank Starr comes out, Oglala Sioux Tribe, also chairman of Great Plains region. I just want to say a few words. I'm here to stand with
my relatives of the Ochete Shakoi. And it's good that we're standing together here in Washington, D.C., because back home we're going to do the same. And I want you to know that we need to unite. We need to come together. We need to work together, and we need to stand strong. Today, I have to say, being here in Washington, I heard a lot of good words. Also, we're also fighting the government. We have an ongoing case that we won. And we took a stand. We declared a state of emergency. We're going to push the government until they start honoring their treaty obligations. So today I want to say, let's unite. No DAPL. How? Mataki. I want to come here to say something, and I wrote it down so I won't be too long-winded. I could go way off. But in 1888, 1899, right on the steps behind me, our grandfathers came to visit Washington, D.C. to petition Congress that federal agencies like the War Department and Department of Interior, Congress, and the President were not living up to the provisions of the 1851 and 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty. The Fort Laramie Treaties of 1851 and 1868 are the supreme law of the land, as provided by the Constitution. These treaties were made between two sovereign nations for peace, with the Lakota and the Dakota. This agreement was never intended to cede large tracts of land. The 1868 treaty was made as a treaty of peace, not a land cession. And the Black Hills are not for sale. Like our grandfathers in their time, 135 years later, our current tribal leadership stand here today with issues that still remain the same. In that 1880 era, it was a land grab session. Today now, it's taking control of the water guaranteed to the Lakota and Dakota by the 1851 and 1868 Fort Laramie treaties. The Army Corps of Engineers has to modernize their approach and come out of this era. There is no transparencies within the federal agencies or Congress administering the provisions of these treaties. Instead, federal agencies like the Army Corps of Engineers are still stuck in the era of the 1800s, treating our tribal nations as wards of the government. Congress has to bring these federal agencies into compliance, like the Army Corps of Engineers, who continues to violate the Constitution of the United States, violates federal laws, and ignores the Executive Order 13175 on government to government, now nation to nation, consultation with the indigenous people of this country. If federal agencies cannot service their federal responsibility, they need to be singled out and have consequences. Army Corps of Engineers today allows the Dakota Access Pipeline to run 570,000 barrels a day underneath the Missouri River without a federally approved easement and permit, violating federal laws and specifically the Constitution of the United States. The Army Corps of Engineers is not above the law. Now the draft EIS for the Dakota Access Pipeline, if it goes to a record of decision, it will approve to increase of the flowage of oil up to 1.1 million barrels a day. This is unacceptable. Where is DOJ? Where is the General Accounting Office? Where is Department of Interior? Where is the President of the United States? Where does the leadership of our Great Plains Tribal Chairmen's Association turn to? They turn to the honored members of Congress present here today to seek justice and transparency. We seek a congressional oversight hearing to now take our concerns of transparency, climate change, and the protection of burial sites to the committees of Congress. We want our tribal nations at this table. We want the Kanaka Maoli from all the Hawaiian Islands at the table. We want the Alaska Indigenous Nations at this table. And we want it as soon as possible. We are all dealing with the same destructive issues that infrastructure development places on our indigenous people. We want accountability with federal transparency, accountability to preserve and protect the water, accountability to protect the graves of our ancestors that are on private or state lands. They need equal protection. And we want action enforcing provisions placed in all federal laws and the presidential and executive orders that deal with the environment to address these issues outlined, climate change and a changing world. Our tribal leadership demands accountability and transparency with the Army Corps of Engineers and federal agencies that must be held accountable. The President and Congress must uphold their fiduciary responsibility to the indigenous people and tribal nations. We come today to tell President Biden to shut down the Dakota Access Pipeline permanently. Plug it and cap it. Plug it and cap it. If we experience an oil break in the Missouri River, how do you mitigate oil-soaked human remains of our ancestors? They will be taken to a federally approved disposal site where usually oil-soaked soil is disposed of. This was asked to Assistant Secretary for Army Corps of Engineers Michael Connor in May by Standing Rock. He said he was never asked this question before, and he didn't have an answer at this time. He has yet to answer this question. The draft EIS for the Dakota Access Pipeline does not address this question of oil-soaked human remains. The pipeline is flawed. The DEIS is riddled with redacted pages, and there should be action enforcing provisions placed on any federal agency who intentionally violates the Constitution, any federal law, and compromises the authority and responsibility of members of Congress. We demand immediate action. Today, representatives of the Great Plains Tribal Chairmen's Association are here to express their concerns. The Great Plains Tribal Water Alliance is also meeting today in the Black Hills in South Dakota to discuss the mismanagement of the Missouri River. I believe they will be moving to create a Missouri River Task Force made up of members of tribal chairpersons and presidents, leadership to address transparency and climate change. If we do not address climate change, there will be no water to manage. Unchimaka, grandmother Earth is sick, and Mother Nature is becoming unbalanced. The four forces of Mother Nature, Tate Topa, will lose her four paintbrushes, the four seasons. What are we leaving the young adults, the youth, and the ones yet to come? The door is open to our young youth and our young adults. They must have a say, and we have two of our Takojas here from the Standing Rock and Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. I yield to their presence. Wopida kanka chichuna mitakipi, mitakiwasi.
Hello, my name's Annalie Yellowhammer. I was 12 when I became a part of this movement, and I'm 20 now, so that's 8 years difference. And I just think it's crazy still how 8 years later we're here still having to fight for clean water, for wanting clean water. And I just feel, who's to say that my people, our youth, don't deserve a future? This is their way of trying to kill us Indians slowly, but just more modern, it feels like. But I don't have much to say. It's just, yeah. It takes a lot to come up and speak in front of a large crowd. I lost my brother. He was part of this journey with me the past 8 years, and I lost him a year ago, so I'm really having a hard time trying to continue this work without him, because he was a young, great man. We were gonna to be on council together someday. We had plans for our communities, for our people. And it just hurts a lot that I still have to be up here addressing why DAPL can't come through our lands. Legally, it's going through our lands. Thank you.
Midakiapi, Owisko Imachiapi, Chante Washte Nape Chiuzahapi, Cheyenne River Imataha. Hello, my relatives. My name is White Earring. In American English, my name is Morgan Brings-Plenty. I greet you all with a heartfelt handshake. I am the daughter of Joy Braun. She was a fierce firestorm leader in the movement against DAPL. She was the first camper, along with my uncle Wiaka Eagleman, at Sacred Stone. She was camped there on April 1st, 2016, in a foot of snow. She stood against all odds despite any issues that people were giving her. And I am proud to be her daughter and standing up here. My late mother and I have been fighting pipelines for a long time. I was a teenager, just 15, when we started fighting against Keystone XL pipeline. And when our relatives from Standing Rock called and asked for help fighting this new black snake, this Dakota Access Pipeline, my mother didn't hesitate. She asked the youth if they wanted to fight another pipeline, and of course, we said yes. We started to mobilize and attend community meetings. It was decided that a spirit camp was going to be put on. April 1st, 2016, tribal citizens of Standing Rock, Lakota Nation, and allied Lakota, Nakota, and Dakota citizens under the group named Chante Tinshakinanzipo founded Sacred Stone Camp. We laid the groundwork with prayer and ceremony. We had struggled to continue on. We've been fighting a long battle against the black snake, the Dakota Access Pipeline. We carried the cries of many Ochoni across the world. The struggle to fight DAPL and the intuitions of the government we faced off with who put every roadblock in our way. It has never deterred away from our strong will and prayers to stop Dakota Access Pipeline. Each and every one of us are affected by this pipeline, and many alike. We say many Wichoni, that water is life. We can't survive without it, not just us human beings, but our four-legged and two-legged relatives and plant life. Dakota Access Pipeline threatens our water and the 10 million down the stream. DAPL, without adequate environmental analysis or tribal consultation. It had been illegally operating for several years. Thousands of people opposed this project and joined the resistance. This pipeline is just one of many that puts risk on the climate. Our treaty rights must be honored. Our children in the next 7 generations must be protected and should have clean drinking water and breathable air. The truth of that any pipeline like Dakota Access pipelines leak, it's not a matter of if, but when. My grandmother have said this is the year 2023, not 1723, 1823, or 1923. It's time for the genocide to end and for us to recognize our roles as protectors of water and the land, Unchi Maka, our grandmother Earth. This may be a foreign concept to businesses and to those who live a very modern settler life, but we are the protectors, the stewards of this land. It's who we are. The modern day genocide needs to end, that the pipeline, the Dakota Access Pipeline, needs to be shut down and capped and drained of all oil. And I would like to invite all the chairs and everyone who spoke up here. We're going to do some chants to end.
Awesome, thank you. Very good, very good.
She's having a hard time.
Oh, okay. All right,
Go ahead.
and we'll repeat.
When I say Fort Laramie, you say 1868. Fort Laramie!
1868!
Fort Laramie!
1868!
When I say Mini Wichoni, you say water is life. Mini Wichoni!
Water is life!
Mini Wichoni!
Water is life!
We stand
Together.
For our brothers.
For our brothers.
For our sisters.
For our sisters.
For water.
For water.
For our future generations.
For future generations.
We stand.
We stand.
We stand.
We stand.
We stand.
We stand.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Oh, thank you, my girl. That was so good.
Stay.